Well, thank you everybody for coming. My name is Amber Spring and I'm the Assistant Dean of Students for Wellness and Leadership. And I've been trying to do an event to commemorate Martin Luther King Day, which we're a couple of weeks removed from that this year. And I've expanded it this year to include a talk. So I'd like to just take a minute to introduce tonight's speaker, Randy Bachmeier, holds a doctoral degree in educational psychology and undergraduate degrees in history, English, and business. He has over 20 years of experience in higher education, including administrative experience in continuing and distance education, in writing and administering grants, and in teaching undergraduate and graduate courses in education, history, psychology, leadership, business, and nonprofit management. He has extensive experience serving diverse populations, and his primary research interest is developing servant leadership for the advancement of equitable and just communities. We're very excited to have Dr. Bachmeier close out our third annual MSU Northern Community Involvement Day. Will you please join me in giving him a warm welcome?
Thank you, Amber, and thank you everybody for coming out on a winter evening. As Amber said, we normally do this with MLK Day, and we're running a little bit late, but I think it's okay because MLK Day was 40 below and today's 40 above, so a little bit better weather to deal with. But nevertheless, I would like to just take a moment of silence and honor the man and his contributions to our country, our community, and the advancement of civic engagement for all of us. If you join me for just a second. Thank you. So, MLK, he was an amazing storyteller. People don't really think of MLK as being a storyteller. If you haven't listened to any of his speeches all the way through, if even just recently, I encourage you to go back and do that. Especially I have a dream, and you will notice that he is not only incredibly engaging as a speaker, but he's a wonderful storyteller. He starts with the Declaration of Independence and moves forward throughout history to, the turmoil of the 1950s and then into his dream. What do I hope for? What do I see for the future of this country? Okay. And, an unfortunate thing that we have in our culture is that I think we get the idea that in order to tell stories, we have to be like an MLK or, that person doing the TED Talks, right? And that's just not so. I mean, if it's only those people doing the storytelling, our culture is going to fade away and it's going to die. And if you think back, you probably remember, your own grandparents or whoever, they were busy telling stories when you were a kid. And, they weren't MLKs either. But if we practice this thing, we can continue to move our culture forward and remember the things that we should, and to teach our kids the things that they need to know. So I'm going to ask your indulgence just a little bit tonight. Again, I'm not MLK, right? And I'm going to do my best to tell you a couple of stories that I think you'll enjoy. They're stories that I heard long ago and I still remember them, and I've adapted them to my own purposes. And we'll then talk about these stories a little bit together and see what we can draw out of them as a community. Okay? So, without any further ado, this first story is called The Rat's Tail.